It's tagged in this video I'm going to show you so many times, but we're going to have to break it down so we can really talk about it, so I need you to stick with me. And I want to give you a heads up because this video can be hard to watch.
I'm going to play a song for a woman that I kind of like, and I got there, and she saw me, and she immediately pulled away, and I wasn't forcing her to listen or anything, you know, I just wanted to play the song for her, you know, give her her own choice if she wanted to be with me.
So he says he wanted to give her own choice on whether or not she wanted to be with him, but then he chased her when she pulled away. So he didn't want to give her a choice, he wanted to scare her into feeling like she didn't even have one.
Yeah.
So I chased her a little bit, just because, I don't know, women are crazy. Like, I felt like she, wanted me to chase her.
This is what's so dangerous about people saying things like women are crazy or women don't know what they want, because it implies that when they do say no, they may not even really mean it. And do you see what happens when dangerous men with microphones tell self-admitted incels what women want? They say women want to be chased, and this man hears those words and continues to chase a woman who's literally running away from him.
Yeah. Chasing somebody's crazy? Well, it's just like, I only went like a couple blocks down the street. Just saying, don't you think chasing somebody's crazy?
A couple blocks.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
it's like, because I remember this now. I haven't seen Kaylee talking about it, but she's been spot on so far. And and yeah, I remember this guy. Complete fuckwit. Complete, like, that behavior is dangerous.
That's why that blonde woman that we talked about before, we're going to talk about her in more depth. That's why she is so dangerous, because men like this listen to that one pick-me pandering woman who says women want to be chased, and they think, yeah, every woman wants to be chased. Even when they are literally running away, they're like, no, you want this. And it's like, they never listen. When hundreds of women show up to those comments in droves to say, no, don't listen to this woman, this is not what we want, they're like, nah, she said it. So this guy, someone told him once women are playing hard to get, and he is now in front of 2 police officers being like, you know, women, they wanted me to increase them.
Yeah, and the police officers are like, nope, not buying it, buddy.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, there was a whole bunch of warning flags already, but and then when it got to the bit about the 2 blocks, I only followed her for 2 blocks. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's more.
When your officers don't want to. Well, I had my song playing, and I wanted to her to hear it.
He had a
Hang on. And this is okay, yeah, and this is about he had a song that said something to him, and he wanted to convey that message to her, but he didn't just send it in an email or a text or whatever, like most normal people do. He had to go to her workplace so that he could watch her listening to it to make sure, like, I want you to know this is how I feel about you.
I think they work together, if I'm not mistaken, but this guy has also confused himself with like John Cusack at the end of Say Anything, where he's like holding up the boom box, and he thinks it's going to do. That movie was also pretty terrible for shit like this. We'll talk about that another day. But
but even then, like, the 2 scenarios are so different. Like standing outside a house with a boom box, like 20 feet away, compared to being in someone's face with your phone going, listen to the song, listen to it.
But that's how he sees it, right? Like, he doesn't see that he's being creepy. He thinks he's being like, I just want to show you something. Like, this is completely harmless. He doesn't see the creep factor in what he's doing.
Yeah. And then we'll come to the, like, after we finish watching the clip, we'll break down what the manosphere usually says in defense of this behavior and why what they're saying is wrong.
song playing and he just wanted her to hear it. And if those words sound familiar, it's because it's the same thing you hear from every assailant trying to justify an assault. It's always the same thing. I just wanted her to give me a chance. I just wanted her to like me. I just wanted her to listen to me. And if she had just done what I had asked, then she would have never gotten hurt. They say it with so much conviction, like it's the victim's fault instead of the perpetrator. But this is not a valid excuse. It doesn't matter what you want because no one's obligated to give it to you.
Yeah, that was exactly what, in a completely different scenario, but the same mechanism, is what happened to that researcher that I was telling you about, where this guy, like, she was doing that competition and the guy said, well, you should offer a dinner date. And then she was like, no. And then he was like, well, how about you just give us a chance then? And then it's like, nobody owes you a chance. Where is that entitlement to being given a chance?
Well, it's like men who think that women are just, NPCs who are there for their viewing pleasure, because like a woman can't even walk down the street minding her own business without men blaming them for triggering them or making them feel in a certain way. Women aren't out here for you.
Yeah.
And like they're just not getting it. Like, as far as he is concerned, she is a woman, so she is up for grabs.
I think there's a lot of comedy sketches that could be made about NPCs in video games and comparing it to how men must think women are when they're not around. Yeah, exactly. And then and I was thinking as well that in their little weird world, women are basically the organic equivalent of the puzzle box in Hellraiser. And they're surprised when it all goes wrong and they're
Well, it's like that tweet that I showed you before where a woman had tweeted out that like a guy was telling her what she should do to be more attractive. And she was like, explain to me why you think I'm trying to attract you. Right.
Yeah.
Like that mindset of it is just, I think that's part of the whole, what makes it so dangerous. It's like people who think every dog out there is a dog to be petted instead of like asking the owner, can I pet your dog? Right. Not everything is out there for you to just take and grab. You're not a toddler who doesn't know any better, right? So like they need to just come to terms with not everything is for you. Grab your hands.
Yeah, and it does kind of start with that childhood stuff, doesn't it? That this is why family pets are a good idea, is because it teaches children how to restrain themselves and how not to chase their id desires, and that like you can't just grab the cat because it's fucking fluffy and cute. That cat is a like, it's an animal. It has thoughts and beliefs and all that to a certain extent, and you know it has its own sense of identity. And you know there
was a dog trainer who put out a video on like, here's how you stop people when they want to touch your dog, right? Because if someone wants to pet Zool, she's not a warm, friendly dog, right? She's reactive. She'll growl. She'll back off. She's not going to bite, but she's not the warm and fuzzy. So if people just walk up to her and try to pet her, they're going to think that like, oh, she's such a mean dog because of the way she responds. But it's like, you wouldn't walk up to a person and just start stroking their hair, right? So
Could you imagine
those same things? But like, so this woman did this whole video on like, here's how you say no, because people have been super aggressive with her when she has said, no, my dog is not friendly. Like, well, does that make you pet your dog? He wants to pet your dog. She's like, no.
It'll bite your kid's face off.
You can't just pet my dog because you want to pet my dog. And like, a lot of people just don't get it. Like, come on, what's your problem? Let me pet your dog. And if you're doing that in front of your kid because you want your kid to pet this dog, what your kid is learning is that if you just keep harassing people and wear them down, eventually they're going to either give in or you just take what you want.
Exactly. We'll come back to the dog thing after this, maybe in part 2, because I think it's relevant. But anyway, so I see the subtitles here. Her father called me up and he made some threats to me and my life. So he's trying to make himself the victim now. He's hard done by. I've seen this a lot. He just
wanted her to hear this song and now her dad is being mean to him.
Yeah. I see
because he scared the shit out of his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. And he's done what every fucking father would want to do, you know? Man.
Her father called me up and he made some threats to me and to my life. Chasing his daughter.
You felt completely comfortable telling the police that someone had threatened your life for threatening the safety of their daughters. He says her father's trying to control her, and by control her, he means interfering in his ability to intimidate her.
But it wasn't chasing. It was like going down a couple streets, like to women. Like women like that. A little bit of excitement. No, they don't. What about like BDSM porn, where women like to have fantasies? Well, apparently this girl does.
He makes this reference to porn, but remember that people watch the kind of porn that appeals to them. So he's using the way that women behave in make-believe movies meant to appeal specifically to his demographic as an excuse for how to treat women in real life.
What happens when women don't ever, come to terms with themselves? Bad shit happens.
This is a frustration when people say that women are dramatic or ask them why they didn't just say no. Because they never seem to understand that our words mean nothing to a man that refuses to hear them. That woman is in danger for no other reason than that man being attracted to her. And if you can't understand the fear that that instills in women, then I promise you that you are part of the problem.
Oh, that was fucking appalling.
And he still didn't get it. Like, even when the two male police officers, when he says women like to be chased, two male police officers says, no, they don't. And he's like, yeah, porn.
Yeah. I've never watched BDSM porn, so I can't really speak for what kind of videos they make. But I can't imagine that BDSM porn involves the specific context of chasing a woman down the street to make her listen to her phone so that she will know unequivocally how you feel about her. And then she will know then that she feels the same way about you. And then, but that doesn't matter anyway because you're entitled to her. How is that relevant to porn?
Like, and I think porn is one thing because I've seen other like guys make on Reddit posts or TikToks trying to make porn feel like real life, or like they don't understand there's a difference between the two. But I also blame almost every romantic comedy that has ever been made because they perpetuate that myth that you got to chase someone, you got to be persistent, you can't take no for an answer, you got to keep trying. The I love you, I hate you, stay away from me, kiss me trope, like all of that. It's like when young girls think they're Disney princesses because they've watched all those movies, right? Like it just creates such an unrealistic. Like, wouldn't it be great if there was a movie where a guy approaches a woman, she says no, and he's like, okay, and then he goes off and meets somebody else. That's the end of it. But
like the thing is like guys like that as well, like another common trope that they come out with is that computer games don't make people violent and porn doesn't make them want to do certain things, right? So I'm not sure that we can blame, because there's no evidence that by watching something makes you want to do something. There's no evidence of that. And like, and you learn norms and stuff. So what I'm trying to get at is that if I play a game, I understand that I'm not a Formula One racing driver. I'm not a army general. I'm not a fucking deity. I'm me, right? And I can understand the difference between reality and fiction. And so this behavior that they are obviously replicating the behavior from somewhere, but they basically, if they can tell the difference between fantasy and reality in all these other situations, why is it when it comes to women's behavior that they believe everything that they're told, but they've not necessarily experienced it?
It's the same thing that we've talked about before, where men talk about the evolutionary drive to want to like conquer as many women as possible, but not to go out and like slay a wild boar for dinner, right? Like they they pick and choose whatever suits their narrative, and they don't want to believe that. It's like the guys who, like I saw a Reddit post this morning of this 19-year-old guy who has just learned that his 18-year-old girlfriend had sex twice with her ex-boyfriend, and now his language is he is devastatingly depressed over this because of the oxytocin that released for her, and he's going to be petting a dog releases oxytocin. Like she's not allowed to pet dogs anymore, and because now they are bonded, and he's not going to be able to match that connection. And it's like, God, like for every 1,000 people who know that when they're playing Grand Theft Auto, they're not really, committing a heist, there's that one person who's like, yeah, I could totally do it. But this is what makes them pick and choose what works for them and what doesn't.
This is what really frustrates me with them, is that like they pick and choose what so-called literature that they think that they pay attention to. And like, it's the same kind of people that really get into Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty, but the kind of guy, there's like a certain kind of man that watches it to make himself feel clever. And it's because the plots are not even that complicated, but they feel complicated because of the way that they're delivered, and that Rick is presented as this really clever guy. And so whatever he says must mean that it's real and it's factual and it's all about science, Morty. And then they take all of this other stuff that like no expert worth their salt has ever fucking said. They're taking information from other unqualified people, like these manosphere dating coaches and all that stuff. And there's nothing within psychology that is that supports what they're fucking saying. And then they pick and choose what it is, and they can never give you good evidence for it. They can never go, well, here's the fucking study, dude. Oh, here's the PhD thesis someone wrote. Here's the entire body of evidence that has been cultivated over 20 years. And now we definitively know that women want to be chased 2 blocks down the street and raped in a bush. That's not what women fucking want. And it's not what the research says. Like,
no, and I think because they don't see women as actual real people who have the same kind of drives and emotions and thoughts and feelings. And like, yes, there are differences between men and women. However, they kind of feel like we're a completely different alien species that cannot articulate, this is exactly what I want. Like, yes, there are some women, just like there are some men who would waffle, and there are some women who give the rest of us a bad name by making false allegations and doing that ridiculous, hard to get, right? There, of course, there's always bad apples in every batch, male and female. But for the most part, when women say no, they do mean no.
It's clear.
And when men are hearing that as maybe or not now or try harder or chase me, like that is where all of this stems from. But then again, women, like, it's always this, no one can ever win, because if a woman plays hard to get, she's a frigid bitch. If she relents, then she's been run through, and she's like, there's just no for anything, there's just no getting around it.
Yeah. And then usually what you get in society is that, like, one group will say part one, and then another group will say part two. But in their case, they are that one group that is saying, she's being coy, she wants me to chase her, and oh no, she's a frigid bitch, so I'm allowed to rape her. But then, oh, actually, she's been run through by other guys because she consensually gave up sex. And like, usually that kind of stuff in other areas in society comes from different groups of people, and then people usually amalgamate it and think that all men are like that and all women are like that. But what these guys are doing is they're all saying these different contradictory statements that like they can't exist in the same world. Like they're illogical. Like they make no fucking sense, and yet they talk about how trans ideology makes no sense. It's like, if you listen to yourself speak.
But this guy, like, he even, the fact that he couldn't even use, as he's telling his own story, he wasn't seeing the holes in the story, right? Like, if she did think it was fun, as he says, like it was exciting to be chased, if she did think that, then why did she go home and tell her dad and let her dad call you to threaten you? Like, at some point, he's got to be like, oh, maybe she wasn't into it, which is why her dad called me, because if she did enjoy it as much as he likes to believe that she did, she wouldn't have gone home and been like, holy shit, Dad, I just got chased for 2 blocks. Can you call this guy? She would have just been like,
exactly.
But,
oh, I got chased.
Yeah, that's not how,